Scott, we've been talking about how American companies have gone excessively woke, how it hurts America but benefits China. You were telling me a story. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Larry Fink supported engine number one that got a bunch of three green activists on Exxon's board of directors. And he's also been using all $9 trillion of BlackRock's assets, and the State Street assets are doing the same thing. They forced Exxon to sell a major oil play in Vietnam. Exxon was going to build out that play. Exxon investors, the American economy was going to get the revenue. Everything was going to be pretty good for everybody. BlackRock forced Exxon to sell that play. Who bought it? A Chinese company that BlackRock and Larry Fink also invest in, which it's now going to be exploited. So Larry Fink's influence was just to shift money that was going to come back to American investors in the American economy to China. So the same carbon's going to be created, even more because the Chinese have laxer environmental standards. And Fink gets to use other people's money and take away American capital in order to build his presence in China. It's contemptible.
It sounds not just contemptible, it also sounds illegal. I mean, if you have two American companies and you owned both of them, or essentially had voting control in both of them, and you forced one to give up to the other, the shareholders of the first one would sue instantly because they had economic value stolen. That sounds like exactly what Larry Fink did.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that at all. I think that he's liable to breach of duty and shareholder derivative actions all across the waterfront, and I hope those will be starting soon. And I can't believe that there aren't some kind of national defense laws, right? We went to Goldman this year and said, what you're doing, they have in their global developing market, emerging market fund, Chinese companies that are subsidiaries of the Chinese Nuclear Developing and Manufacturing Company. So the nukes aimed at us are being funded by Goldman Sachs investors, and they don't even tell the investors about it. Under a technicality that this is just a sub, the parent is the one who makes the nukes. Well, you know, if you were investing in Frito-Lay and Pepsi, it turned out, was making nukes, and you thought that your money wasn't going to make those Pepsi nukes, you'd be out of your mind. Subsidiaries pass the money back to the parents. And so we're seeing this all over the place, and it has desperate national security implications.
Well, in your example, I mean, if it were Frito-Lay and Pepsi, presumably they'd be making them for the United States. In this case, they're making nukes that are pointed at the United States. It's, 1,000 times worse.
Of course. I'm all in favor of investing in American nuclear manufacturing companies because I'm not a unilateral disarmament. I'm not in favor of unilateral disarmament, but I'm certainly not in favor of arming our enemies. That's insane.
Yeah, well, you're doing great work because you're bringing these shareholder proposals out that are on the conservative side. You're lighting it up in the media. I appreciate what you're doing. And we've got some new allies like Glenn Beck, also on Blaze TV, who's recognized the Great Reset, the World Economic Forum, Larry Fink, and he's calling it out. But we also have people like your predecessor, Justin Danoff, who's gone with Strive, and we've got us. We're training financial advisors at Liberty University and EconomicWarRoom. We're training investors. Paul Fitzpatrick in the 1792 exchange tool. Derek Kreifels, who's leading the charge with states to divest from those that are working against the state interests of the State Financial Officers Foundation. Will Hild at Consumers Research. I mean, there's some Dan Grant and Second Vote Advisors. Art Alley at the Timothy Plan. I called Art and I said, Art, look at what Target is doing. And he just laughed at me and said, you think we own Target? We caught on to them years ago.